In this particular video, my friend, I'm going to share with you 4 key benefits of this thing known as meditation, and more specifically, this thing known as non-duality. It's going to be a bit deep, and I'm going to go, as a matter of fact, deeper than I would normally like to do, but it's going to be definitely something that you don't want to miss. All right, so grab some comfort food, notepad, pen, or pencil, sit back, and let's get into it. Dimitri here. Let's get right into it, as I was trying to say. In the book, I believe it's Exodus, when Moses is actually somewhere attending to the sheep, all of a sudden he realizes that there's a bush that's on fire. As he comes close to the bush, he realizes that the bush basically had a voice, and he had now to actually get into deep conversation with the bush. And the voice coming from the bush tell Moses, young man, please take off your shoes, because the ground on which you are walking is actually holy. So Moses, of course, removed his sandals and bows down and realizes that he's dealing now with a voice that is the voice of God. And as he's listening to God, God is saying to Moses, my friend, young man, I'm going to give you a special assignment. This is going to be an assignment of a lifetime. You, young man, you, the fugitive, you, the bad guy, you, the criminal who actually killed someone before leaving Egypt, I'm going to send you now back to Egypt, and your mission in Egypt will be to simply go and find a way to get these people free from the bondage or slavery where they found themselves. So Moses listened very carefully and very politely to this voice, and at the end he simply says, but sir, dear voice, come on, let's look at it and let's reason together. Do you know who you're talking to? You're talking, number one, to someone who was almost convicted and thrown in jail in Egypt. You're talking to a criminal. You're talking to someone who basically has lost the right to actually set foot in Egypt. More specifically, you're talking to someone who's not really easy or good with words. And when I speak, I actually tend to overthink, and before you know it, my tongue gets tied and people make fun of me because I speak, I have this delayed speech, I have this speech impediment that makes me the laughing stock of wherever I go. So I think you picked the wrong guy. So as a matter of fact, but because you insist, I'm going to try to find a way to go to this particular assignment. But at one point, they're going to ask me, these people, they say, yeah, but who's sending you? What is the name of the person sending you? Or what is the name of the entity actually sending you to come free these people that's now working for our economy in Egypt? And that was a big question. And the answer to the question was, yes, tell them I am that I am. And that's exactly what I was talking about yesterday during the live stream. I am that I am. The key question is, why did God choose to represent himself as the I am that I am? How come he never gave him a specific name? How come he never simply said to Moses, yeah, just tell him I'm God. Just tell him I'm the creator. Why didn't he just a simpler answer that everyone could grasp? But I come to realize with time, with meditation, with reading, studying, extensive hours of studying, I've come to realize that the main and key reason why he never actually gave him a specific name, but it chose to represent himself as the I am that I am, because he was trying to introduce right there and there a very key concept that was going to help Moses and help the people that he was going to actually help free from Egypt. What was the concept? The concept was simply to say, as the ultimate entity in the place far beyond the confines of your tiny universe, I am the final frontier, number one. But number two, more specifically, I want you to understand that as you're going to go talk to these people and bring these people out of Egypt, I want them to understand that, number one, I am not the problem. I am not the dire situation in which they find themselves. I am not that. And on the other end, I am not the solution. I am not the miracle they're looking for. But above and beyond these two opposite situations on the spectrum of life, I am much bigger than the sum of all your problems and the sum of all your solutions. In matter of fact, I am the infinite sum of possibilities in the spectrum that you have in front of you. So I am far above and beyond everything that you can look at, either positive or negative. I am basically not to be included in your duality of things, good or bad, hard or easy. I am far beyond that. I am not to be included in your equation of duality. I am that I am. And as I was saying yesterday, when you fully and properly take the time to understand the concept of I am that I am, you come to realize that was also a visa or a passport that he was giving to Moses, to simply tell Moses that you also as my emissary, you also as my ambassador, I'm also going to bestow upon you the right to go there and to simply see and carry yourself as someone who's simply above and beyond anything on the spectrum of life. I'm going to send you in the same capacity as someone representing I am that I am. I'm going to give you the key concept called I amness. So you're going to go there and simply look at what's happening over there and simply not be distracted by the harshness of the situation. I'm going to use you over there to do great things, but you are not to become, how can I put it, distracted by the magnificent work you're going to do. You are not going to be distracted by the glory you're going to actually get through the work you're going to do, but you're simply going to remain even keel and simply remember that you are above and beyond the sum of the problem and the sum of the solution you're going to put on the table. And why this is so important as far as life is concerned, because as I was saying yesterday, in the concept of the brain more specifically, when you look at the brain and you try to actually go into meditation, the most important thing to realize is that yes, the chatter, the thoughts, the feelings that you are actually experiencing are things that you are consciously entertaining. Because if you actually come to a place where you really want to achieve, you want to achieve oneness with yourself, you have to simply try to reach a place where there is no thoughts. And this is what we're talking about yesterday. Even Jesus, when he's telling people, he says, take no thoughts for tomorrow. Take no thoughts for tomorrow. Because if you really want to be in a place where you're going to be free, you simply have to let the device inside your body, this device called the brain, take over. But the brain will only take over if you give it permission to take over. And it will only take over when you simply give yourself permission to simply stop fretting about little things, stop focusing on your thought, and give your brain the chance to take over and to get into the place called DMN, default mode network. DMN, default mode network. It will not actually come to actually do what it's supposed to do until you actually find a way to reach that place of no thought. And I was simply telling you yesterday, a simplest way to actually reach that place of no thought is, as you go through meditation, simply start actually by focusing on all the thoughts that are basically bombarding your attention as far as your meditation is starting. But at one point, you simply have to come to a place and simply say, now, I'm going to focus on the next thought. And as you try to focus on the next thought, you're going to realize that yes, there is no such thing as next thought. There's no such thing as thoughts for tomorrow, because you're going to come to realize that the channel you're experiencing in your mind was simply something that you were entertaining, because the brain in itself is simply a silent place. And the silent place is basically where you have to find, because when you find yourself in a place of silence, that's when your brain is going to take over and you're going to start experiencing the I amness. Being above and beyond the sum of all your problems and the sum of all the solution you can possibly provide. And more specifically, now let me just use one example. I'm going now to go to the 4 key benefits. One example. July 6, 1907 in Mexico was born a young girl that came to be known as Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo was actually born to a loving family, a German guy and a local Mexican woman. And as they gave birth to this young girl, they loved her and they wanted for her to do well. They sent her to school. But unfortunately, 6 years, when she turned 6, 1913, she had to be sent back home because she became the laughing stock of everyone in school. Why? Because her right leg was actually shorter than the left leg, and the right leg was also deformed. So as she was going to school, other kids were making fun of her. So it became so unbearable that the only way for her to survive was to stay at home and to be homeschooled. She spent some time with her dad when she was being homeschooled, and her dad managed to actually bring her to a place where she regained her confidence, and she also brought her academic performance to a place where she could go back to school. She go back to school, and basically, eventually, she even qualifies to go into the medical school. And she was only one of the few girls, I believe 6 out of 2,000 boys that were actually admitted to the school to actually become eventually doctors. So unfortunately for her, 3 years within actually being in the medical school, what happened is one day as she was riding one of the street cars in Mexico from one place to another, she found herself in a very tragic accident. The accident got a few people actually killed, but as far as she was concerned, she found herself not only basically with multiple fractures, but more specifically with one of the rails that basically came and impaled her and went through a midsection. By the time they removed her, I mean, yeah, you know how things actually used to go back then. By the time they removed her and they took her to the hospital, she was basically to be bedridden for many months. So now, as she was bedridden for all this time, she came to realize that, my goodness, I was hoping to become someone within society. My purpose was to actually go out and help people and change the society as far as concerned, as far as the healthcare system is concerned. But now that it's basically taken away from me, because I'm not going to be able to return to medical school and stand on my feet for as many hours as I used to. So now my dream to become a doctor, my purpose, I mean, so quote unquote, to become a doctor has been crushed. What am I going to do? So as she was lying there, she came to realize exactly what I'm talking about, the I amness. She came to realize, my goodness, I am not the sum of all this trials and tribulation. I am not the sum of all this problem. I am not the sum of all these things I could have become. So I am not the sum of my setback, and I'm not the sum of my expectation. It's not my expectation that define me. I wanted to become a doctor, but that does not define me. I'm now basically bedridden, but this situation does not define me. I am above and beyond these things. I am basically, I am that I am. I have reached a place of I amness. It's only when she was lying there and she simply let her brain take over, she reached a place of no thoughts, that as her brain took over, the brain simply said to her, you have never actually got to this place, but I'm going to give you a suggestion. Ask for a piece of paper, ask for brushes, ask for pencil, and you go now to start painting. As she started painting, my goodness, one painting after the other, she actually came to a place where she became self-taught and she started producing works that eventually were recognized as absolutely outstanding. Now, as far as you and I are concerned, now, here are the 4 key benefits of this thing called non-duality, as I just clearly explained it. Again, you are not the sum of your setbacks and you are not the sum of your expectation. Don't be bound by expectation, by the miracles, by the good things that happen to you, and don't be bound by the things that seem to be bad that could be happening to you. You are to remain above that. And what are the 4 key benefits of this thing called non-duality? Let me just go through them very quickly. P-A-R-K. So again, park, walk, park to ego. But let me just go to the 4 letter P-A-R-K. As you practice meditation, as you practice mindfulness, and you reach a place where you're simply going to be in a place of non-duality, it's going to give you pause. P for pause. It's going to give you the confidence, the calm that you need in order for you to operate as someone who's not actually distracted by the noise that actually coming the way. You're going to be a man or woman of focus. Number 1. Number 2. A for what? A for ammunition, because life at the end is a battlefield. You cannot go to the battlefield without ammunition. So this meditation is going to simply not just reset you, not just give you permission to rest, but also going to reset you and give you the proper ammunition to think clearly and to know exactly what kind of solution and what kind of things you can actually put to the table to change the situation. Number 2, R for what? Is simply going to give you something really key, which is R, reason. It's going to give you a why. It's going to give you a reason to stay in the battle. It's going to give you a reason to find a way to go out of your way to actually make something happen, even when there seems to be absolutely no way. And this is very key, because many people actually get into the battlefield, but it comes to a point where things get extremely tricky, extremely hard, and they simply say, no, now I'm simply going to give up because this is now beyond my pay grade. I'm just going to give up. This war is not my war. But if you come to a place to actually start practicing meditation and reaching non-duality, it's going to give you a reason why you need to stay in the game and keep pushing until you find the way or become the way. That's number 3. And K for what? It's simply going to give us something really key that we all need in on the battlefield, which is simply the killer's edge. And somebody said to me, but this sounds really bad. This is crazy. How can we talk about? I said, let me just explain. When Phil Jackson actually joined this team named the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers, the city of Billy Mason, he found that yes, he had in front of him a pool of talented players, but they were basically all over the place as far as the mindfulness is concerned. So he got them to practice meditation, and in practicing meditation, that basically was slowly but surely people that were basically talented, but yet all over the place started slowly but surely coming to a place where they started developing the killer's edge they needed to actually get on the basketball court and start winning games and eventually start winning championship. And this is where slowly but surely this great thing came to actually be now circulated amongst players and amongst the media, known as the Black Mamba, because Kobe Bryant, God bless his soul, came out to a point when he realized that, you know what, now that I'm actually getting the points I need, now I'm getting the ammunition I need, now that I'm getting the reason now to go back into the court is concerned, I'm also getting the ability to go out there and finish the game and get to the top and get exactly the championship crown that I so deserve. So again, P for poise, A for ammunition, R for reason, and K for killing's edge that you need. And the park is also going to give you permission and a way to simply park your ego. Because let's just actually face it, the one key thing that always gets in the way as far as you and I are concerned, it's one key thing, it's called ego. Ego will always try to cause you to overthink, over reason as far as things are concerned, and to get to a place where you're simply going to reach a place of complacency and frustration and procrastination. But once you come to a place where you start practicing meditation, practicing mindfulness, and more specifically non-duality, you're gonna reach a place where you're gonna be able to simply park your ego and come to a place where you simply can become the giant you are so designed to be. All right, I'm gonna stop here right now. Thanks again for watching. Before you go, let me just give you 5 key assignments to actually consider. Number one, please make sure you smash the like button so YouTube knows that we are delivering great value as far as YouTube is concerned. Number two, please make sure you share this video for as many people as possible. Number three, please make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. I know exactly who's watching and where you're watching from. And number four, please make sure you subscribe if you have not already done so. Last but not least, if you're looking for someone to actually help you as far as your situation is concerned to go from where you are to the next level, my friend, look no more. Just go to the about section of this YouTube channel, get my contact information, send me an email, or go to Instagram, just send me a DM so we can see how we can work together. Because as I keep saying, the best is yet to come. You are perfection made flesh, but not for that perfection to be manifesting. You have to come to a place where you realize, number one, who you are as an identity, number two, what your brain stands for, and number three, how you can actually come to a place where you can let your brain take over, or otherwise let your DMN take over and start helping you manifest the greatness that actually buried deep inside you. All right, love you so much. I'm out.